All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Patrick Kilduff, and I'm going to talk about making an R package and how to do that. It's going to be hands-on, so if you're interested in following along, you don't have to be your partner up with somebody and look over their shoulders if you're interested in doing that. I have a few slides to get us started, and then just kind of like big picture, what is a package and why we want to do it. Then we're just going to get down, and I think it was easiest for me to start figuring out what a package is by actually walking through some simple tutorials and then looking at some information as I went along. So this is that's how I'm going to do it. So, and a package is not a present, but it is actually kind of a great thing. It's a bundle of R code. Oops. It's a bundle of R code that it's portable and you can share with other people. So when you look at some of the official definitions or some of the definitions of a package from some of the gurus, packages can be defined as something that provides a mechanism for loading optional code, data, and documentation as needed. So that you can use it in R, and generally these things make your life easier. Hadley Wickham says that packages are the fundamental units of reproducible R code. They include reusable R functions, the documentation that describes how to use them, and sample data. And like with many things with R, Hadley Wickham developed some packages that make making packages easier to do. He provides his packages that provide the basis of tonight's tutorial. So my definition of a package, or what I think about a package is something that makes working with R easier most of the time. Or it's, in other words, it's the best thing about R, and sometimes it's the most frustrating thing about R. Because now, if you're looking for an analysis, you can sometimes, if you want to do plotting, you find that you can't do something in base graphics, then you have to learn ggplot or some other package. So you end up learning a lot of people's individual coding styles or ways of thinking about things. So sometimes that's particularly challenging, especially if you're getting fitting complex models and they have different ways of specifying random effects in your hierarchical mixed effect model or something. All these little syntax differences can be kind of challenging, but it's a great thing because there's thousands of packages on R, on the R network, CRAN, and I like people like to help. I was hoping there'd be a few more less experienced R users. It seems to be one kind of a more advanced group, so sorry if it's a little bit introductory for folks. So basically, for me, it was definitely like a step. It's a conceptual leap to go into doing. It's a conceptual leap a little bit, but it's also a new habit to get into when you start developing your own package. But the idea is that you'll be able to write code that's more reproducible, and the key thing about that is it's reproducible for other people and for yourself far into the future. It also provides a way of documenting all the ad hoc tests you usually write. And for me, I was able to learn a lot more about how computing works in R. And of course, if you like to get frustrated, it's a good thing because you always get to find new ways to generate bugs in R when you're building a package and you want to debug those to figure out what's causing the problem. So there's a lot of references, and I think I'm basically just going to focus on a nice simple tutorial by Hillary Parker a couple years ago. It's how to make a simple R package. I think I was going through it today. I don't want to go too long and come up with some R packages and analysis, but I think I could probably, the group here is not too big a conceptual need to describe how to do that. If you want to see more about how to build up your own package to do an actual analysis, so you could actually have your paper in there and your writing, plots and everything, you can go to this link. It's in the tutorial I sent around today. Okay. So on that, if you're interested in getting the code and pulling it on your machine, it's on my very underused GitHub repository. So I'm the DP code, DPKODE. The package is called FunkyR. So you can be able to follow along that way. And then also earlier today, I sent a tutorial around. And if you want to open that up, I sent around a PDF. I'm going to keep the document open, so if you find errors, now you can fix it. Send it to Rick for posting. Let's see, so. I'm going to twist how to do this. So I guess what I'll do is let me rename my package. All right. So if you have a tutorial, you can open it up to go down to the step-by-step instructions for making your first personal R package. And what we're going to do is we're just going to create a simple R package that contains one or two functions, add a documentation to it, figure out how to load and install the package, and call the function in the script. And we're also going to learn how to build a vignette, which is a more in-depth way of describing your package, and what it can do, and also build some, add a few simple tests to it. So the first thing is, for those following along, does everybody have the Hadley Wickham's DevTools package installed? Jay, do you have it installed?
No, I had to rebuild my box. I'll install it now.
Yeah. Let's see. Is that what kind of machine is that?
PC.
So do you have R tools installed?
Yeah, I should. But I had to rebuild.
Okay.
So that was wrong.
So let's see if you want to install my iTunes. Here's the package, or there's the web address if you want to get R tools installed.
It's loading.
It's loading. Okay.
Yeah.
You might want to, I'm not sure, you think you should restart it. I haven't done too much with every installs R tools. You need to restart your R session.
Well, it has to add to your path, right? That's
Yes.
executable, so you might have to close it.
Okay.
Like, I don't know.
All right.
Make sure when you install it, it says add path to registry. I don't know if you got to that point yet. In the installation process.
Okay, so let's see. I don't wanna get too far ahead of Jay. So let's think about.
Yeah, will that DevTools install our Oxygen too, or no?
Yeah,
Something to install that, or it has it?
DevTools does.
Okay, it has it with.
I know, that is just when I got that off his webpage and then I noticed, I installed it, so.
Oh, you actually wrote the note there, yeah, okay, okay.
So basically, you need a few extra tools in the standard R installation to get it up and running.
So this automatic installation in R doesn't work with this, you have to
Now you have to get, on the Macs, you have to install the command line tools, which you get through Xcode. And you need a C compiler, is what it comes down to. And then for the Windows, you use the R tools. It's not R package, it's separate. So for Q, that's what he's downloading.
Yeah, just now.
I'm not sure what you do on a Linux machine. If you have a Linux machine, you know what you're doing anyway.
It's the same Xtools thing, right? Like if you have Ubuntu.
There's instructions on DevTools.
Okay.
It's a little bit for installing DevTools. But basically, the reason we go through the trouble of installing DevTools is once you do that, he's got a suite, how to implement a suite of functions and just set up the file structure, do all does a lot of the painful stuff of making a package, does it automatic, automates it, and sets out a template so you can just add in what you want to add in, and then you don't have to go through the trouble of hand typing these. Oddly formatted, or they have all these different documents will have different syntax or different steps that you have to learn. Rather than having to really learn it, you can follow the template and proceed quickly. Okay. So, how are you on, Jay?
Halfway,
Halfway there.
but I installed it in the path. Yeah, I was in the middle of a hackathon, went to update R, did it the not best way. Yeah, I just blew my DLLs. So I'm in the middle of a hackathon and I'm rebuilding it. So since that, I didn't have a nice clean, so a lot of my packages are started over. I have them. That said, it's a nice lesson where I found quite a while ago when I was moving from one box to another, there's a little thing out there for command install packages, pull down a script, and then you can upload this thing called an RDA, and it'll put them up on another one. So if you've got your nice library of packages, so everybody know that, I found that, because when it came that time, I said there's no way that there hasn't been that situation, and sure enough. But these ones like this, like our tools, it's not one that that script can run, because all it does is invoke through sapply, install package name. It's just an array of names. It's very simple.
Okay, so let's see here. So one thing, you have to install a series of packages. You should, in addition to DevTools. DevTools does install some of them, but on the web, on Wickham's R packages book webpage, he's got some instructions for what to do. So he recommends installing DevTools, R Oxygen 2, which is really how you create the documentation files for our packages. TestStats is very own testing package, which allows you to make tests to check to see that you code is what you think you want it to do. And then Knitter is the handy dandy way of using R Markdown to produce various other where you have text and code in the same document. And then I did something silly like copy and paste straight from my. So we'll just install these packages and then wait for all. Because I've installed it, I'm just gonna go through and do everything.
I didn't know that you can create an array from the names of the packages and it's on the multiple line.
No, if you cut and paste from a, like a.
No, you made an array with C, you know, with
Said
the
like you
vector.
can install
Oh,
the
oh, you
app
see it,
with their
yes.
collection.
Yeah, like that. That's nice.
And then, so then, or you can have
Just give it some error.
Got an error, but I don't know if it's a warning, so I don't know if it's relevant or stuff.
how are you said?
We're still installing.
So
That's installing dev tools.
Yeah, but I feel it's going to be,
I was like, yeah, I think it's gonna be very helpful to follow along.
I was playing stuff installed in the wrong paths.
Oh, no. Okay. Rick, you be able to see your stuff.
So what does it exactly mean? So you can get your complete system.
So I'll step back. So just talk a little generally about it. So R has, what we're going to do is we're going to create a package, and it's a directory that has specific files in there, and each file does certain things. The most important directory that I'm concerned with is the R directory, which is a folder that will contain our R scripts that are actually going to be the functions that you want to keep in your package. So all it is the R directory is going to have, you have one function in each, one file for each function, or several functions that do similar things in one script, or you can have one script that has all your functions, and depending on how you want to organize your code. But everything that's an R function is going to go, an R script is going to go in your R folder. And then there's other folders that can usually a main folder, and once you create your documentation for your R functions, that's going to actually produce a separate file, I think, for every function, and that's going to be what comes up when you type question mark and then whatever your function name is, and then that's what provides the information for that's the textual basis for the help file that comes up. You have a description file that talks about who you are, where to go if you have problems, and some other details about your function. And there's a namespace file that talks about how your package will play with other packages in the file, the packages it depends on, and stuff like that. But since right now we're just building a simple package that you can use locally, we're not going to get into a lot of the namespace details. So right now, if you have that little tutorial open, we're just going through steps 1 and step 2. Steps 2 and that is just to make sure we have a working copy of dev tools installed.
We started, just brought up again. Questions that I'm 323, which was updated in December. I don't know if that's what we're talking about, because those 323.
So I created my little funky R package before, so I'm thinking just might as well, since we can't all follow along with color bullet, I'll just show you what the finished product looks like while we discuss some of the things. So you're gonna have we're just basically gonna build a directory, and everything that's in your R package is gonna go in this directory. And when you create your R package, this basically this skeleton structure is going to come up. If you're using RStudio, they put everything in the R project. It just contains like basic information describing what's going on with this what they call a project. So it's just an organizational type of function. It's not truly part of an R package, but everything else is. And the fundamental components are what comes up on the top here: the description file, the namespace file, the R file, folder, and the man folder. So the R just contains the R code, so it's a standard R script. So it's R script with a function, and then we're going to learn how to annotate it with the R documentation markup tools. And then, let's see. Once you've got that annotated, you can use this Oxygen 2 package that creates a documentation file.
So are those like Linux man pages?
These are like R. These are what shows up. It's a markup language. But it's like a LaTeX type thing. File.
So when you do a help, that's what shows up?
And this is what shows up. What's in the you also, let's see. Yeah, we can just look at it there. It's this is what your description file looks like. So it tells you the package name. You have a title for it. It comes up with a version. And when you create your package, a lot of this stuff is already put up here. It's just got placeholders. So then we'll fill it in as we go along. And
Why did you go 0.0.0?
that is the default. That's what Hollywood says.
Every time you put a function in, does it not jump one? Or?
I've read a few things.
People have asked him when are they going to get one of his packages. When are you going to get the 1.0? It's not even the 1.0 yet. One of his packages. What's the Is there a convention for this?
Oh, for if you have.
So like 1.0 means anything you do from that out is going to be backwards compatible for anyone using the software. You will not break anyone who has your software currently, which takes a long time to get to if you're building a new package. So you've already passed alpha.
I know the difference between being on the left side of the decimal and the right side of the decimal. But I didn't realize that was the definition of 1.0.
That was that's my understanding. So past alpha, past beta, past the point where you never create changes on backwards compatible.
Okay.
Using the package.
Okay.
So like he might reconfigure ggplot that will not work anymore, like he changed all the plus signs to the bigger pipes. Well, it's not really one of them right now because we're still developing so much stuff.
Okay.
It's not going to be backwards compatible.
But still, my understanding was, like 1.0, that particular decimal, anything to the left of that decimal is planned changes. And anything in the Linux world, that tends to be how it works. On the left of the decimal is major planned versions. On the right of the decimal are bug fixes and responses to stuff you weren't planning to do. I don't understand why there's like 3 decimals there. Nobody has any. Okay, sorry.
I think I remember reading in his package. He might have something on his our packages page. It's been a little while since I've seen. I feel like I've read it somewhere. He might have his own thoughts on it. But I don't remember what they are. I could be thinking wrong. When you come down to the title, they say this has to be, title case. So every serious word has to have start off with a capital letter. It has some basic author documentation, and then there's actually automated with person function. I think there might be a few other things you can use with that. I've only played around with it a little bit, but this is kind of neat because it gives you your name, your email, but it also tells you if you're the author and the creator. I think there's like a maintainer tag you can put on there, so when it shows up, you'll know who does what. A description, then you can write, this is a paragraph describing what you want your function to do, or the functions in your package do. When you do it, you need to put in a license. When you do this for real, they recommend. So there's a few different ones, but MIT, GPL, something too. There's some information out there on it. You should look into it and see what suits you. I was going to defer to someone in the audience that's done this a few times or experienced with developing software if they have any personal recommendations or professional.
Well, like typically for our packages, they'll create a separate file, which is called all caps license, where they'll add the details of the license, and then here you would just put MIT plus C license file.
Okay.
Right, like so like this is just, if someone looks at this at a glance, they know it's MIT and they can always go look at your license file for the details about what MIT is.
Okay.
If they don't know, right.
Okay. Cool.
Or if you reference code that is under a license, which is not your license for your package, and you need to document that licensing, then you would add that in your license file as well. And here you would just say, my package is MIT plus license file, and you would see the other people's licenses in there too.
Oh, cool.
Well, you should be documenting their work.
Yes. Okay.
That's your, the emphasis on you at that point.
Very good. And then the other two, well, I don't have one in this package yet, but there's the key ones are there's an imports and a suggest. And everything that comes into this imports line, it's going to be required for your package to run. And then, so it'll install those packages upon loading. These are other ones that it suggests that it's helpful for your package to run. And the only reason these get used is because we use test that to conduct the test, and knitter are markdown to build a vignette. And then it also specifies what code or what package you use to build the vignette. I guess you could also have Sweet for those who are like happy, but it seems our markdown seems so easy. And this is so automated. I guess you'd have to be old school and have your whole shop set up to work that way. I think this seems pretty simple coming at it from a newbie perspective.
Patrick, I apologize there. I have to go.
All right.
But I will follow it on
Great.
the website.
All right. So is anybody who's ready to roll? Try to follow along, building a package on the fly. You okay, Jay? Or you wanna?
I got some kind. I do have the latest update. I do have the latest R 323. When I ran R tools, it said something about warning something about 3.3, and I installed the path and everything. So I'm re-downloading it. Closed R and restart. That wouldn't wait for me.
All right. Well,
I mean,
I can sit over there with you, just look what I'm doing.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This all seems to be pretty cut and dry, but it's getting some kind of
it's always what happens when you're actually trying to do something on the fly. Okay. Are you?
I'm just going.
You're on. Okay. Okay. So the next step is to pick a location where you want your I'm just gonna put it in a folder on my desktop for the time being. It's easy for me to get when I don't have the screen. I can show it, go grab it. But setting my working deck, I created a new folder on my desktop called it 757 run package. And then you can set your working directory to that folder. Okay, and then from there, we invoke the DevTools package, and you call the create function. And this function is what creates the skeleton. So it creates a new R project file in our studio, and then it also creates those other, the package, the skeleton package file framework. So we call it up. Give it a new name. Monkey R.
Hey Patrick,
You can run DevTools.
when in our studio, when you go to create a project, they ask you if you want to create a package.
Yes. Oh, yes, that's the other way you can do it too.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. So you can also do it through our studio, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll run that create function, I'm pretty sure. So if you want to click on that, maybe try that. New directory, right? Because you create a new package in that directory.
Yes. You can go to new project.
Right.
That way,
In the
so
window.
we get to where he is, so that we're caught up.
Okay. That's okay. You don't have
That's
to.
okay, we'll do that way. We can do that way too. That's read articles. Let me go back.
There you go.
How do I change that?
So you just clicked on new directory,
Yep.
Okay.
create a new,
You
let's see,
should create probably his suite of files. Yeah, see, it's the same ones that he showed you.
a new package. Give the package a name. I'm gonna call this
I think doing it the way you did in the GUI, it just runs
I'm just
the
gonna call
actual
mine
tree in the background.
sheet
So
R.
rather than showing you, like, oh, do DevCo's tree in a working directory, and it just does the same thing as what you did. It just creates the directory and builds the files in it.
I'm gonna put that in the R package, my 757 R user package folder.
Yeah.
And there's two things here. You can, if you have Git installed on your computer, you click on that, it's going to initialize it as a Git repository that you can use version control on it, and then you can. I haven't really spent much time with RCDS backwrap, but it's supposed to make it tracking like hopefully your project work nicely with other projects. It's about managing versions of packages that are installed. I guess it tries to like keep the thing isolated from your global R environment, so everything should work when you install something. If you were to share this with other people, they would be able to just get that environment and have all the packages work seamlessly. And then I'm not going to click backwrap because I haven't really figured out how to use it. I've played around with it a little bit, but I don't fully understand its use yet. And then there's open in a new session. I guess we can just go ahead and start over or start everything fresh that way. So
For his repo, I just cloned the repo.
all right, check it
I'm
out.
working on it.
Here's what we
And
see.
my forked version of his.
So I just did it through our studio,
Yes.
and it, made everything.
yes.
Description, man.
Yep, it does all that. That's what create does too.
Okay.
Do it either way. And so what we get, one is since we clicked initialize the Git repository, now the Git ignore file, we have the Git tab, and then up here, and then we also have this build tab, which contains, I'm going to go through the command line way of building a package, but
Okay.
there's other things that can be mirrored. There's functions that are under the build tab that allow you we have, we're all, we good to go?
Restructure something.
All right, so now, let me see. So I have the whole R Studio, way of doing things as well. The first thing we want to do is you have a description file in your, well, the first thing that happens is we have a hello R file that's now in our R folder that RStudio makes. When I did it earlier using the DevTools create function, it doesn't automatically create an R file. So that's a different thing. But if we open the description file, now we see we have, this is similar to what I just had open before, but now we don't know who built it yet. We don't know what the package does. And it has a very different versioning system. So, and we also don't have anything like imports or suggests or anything like that because we haven't done anything yet.
It doesn't know what to import or suggest yet.
There's nothing. You don't actually. I guess this isn't our package, and there's nothing to do yet, so it doesn't need any. If you were using ggplot to make plots, you would have to have imports ggplot too, but it's not used. So what we can do is we can edit this.
My version is more like your version. Instead of 0.0.0.9 like your last one, I have 0.1.
Yeah, this one. Like this one.
Yeah.
So you use this. This is from using. I use the RStudio. I went ahead and use the RStudio point and click way of building package it. So I'm going to give myself a new title. Right, fill in my name and contact information. You can go ahead. So what would I say under the license? Just MIT plus license.
Plus file, and then capital like space, and then not no colon.
No column.
You just say plus file, and then whatever the name is, then you should call it a license. Yeah. And then you should actually create the file in there, and it'll show up like namespace or description.
Okay.
It's just like a file called license. You should create that, and then copy paste the MIT license text in there.
Okay.
So what are you saying, Steve? You're going to make another file and call it the license file?
Just call it, all caps license, and then put in there whatever your license terms are, your licensing terms will be. And it shouldn't be a TXT either, just take that too.
Oh wow. Not to pass. We'll just pretend it's not that. Will it crash if I don't have that?
Oh, no, you're good. I think when you do the build check, it might say like, where's your license or something, but it won't, it'll be a warning, it won't, or a note, I don't think it'll make it.
Okay. So I can't navigate to my text editor with it going up the screen.
Well, you just create a new text file in RStudio, right? That's it. That's one.
So let's see now. Now we're ready to go to our first R function and work with our R code. So I don't really want.
What are you doing, deleting it?
I'm going to get rid of the hello. I'm going to delete the X. I don't want the, that's going to build a whole one, show us how to read that. Okay.
So you also have to go to your man folder and get rid of hello RD.
No, when you rebuild, when you rerun the document function, it'll remove
Oh, okay.
documented functions that no longer exist in
Okay.
the product. So you can't, not necessarily.
No,
not
I think I
necessarily.
heard that. Okay. That makes it easier.
You should, yeah.
So now I'm going to start a new function, a new file. I'm just going to call it functions. Tonight I'm going to call it my function. Adder. Now let's see if I can remember how to do this.
So you're gonna get a lot of scripts, one file that ends in .r, nothing else. Yeah, nothing else. Should only use the R scripts. It's really gonna mess with us.
Oh yeah.
One plus one is one. Man, this adder function really sucks.
I was just gonna,
You can, that's a
I was
test.
thinking
Test
of
that.
testing. I was trying.
I totally screwed you. I'm sorry. Too early.
So, you know, just as a matter of whatever, there's a whole philosophy about using return statements.
Okay.
Are you aware of that argument? So, you don't actually have to put return Z. It'll return the last thing there. You can put Z,
Yeah.
or you can put
No,
just.
you do anything, it will return.
But the argument is that you shouldn't use return. This is just some people's argument. And don't use return at the end. Only use return if you're breaking the flow somewhere to be more explicit about what's going on. Just telling it and not saying it's a good idea. I happen to like return functions. I like to look and it's very explicit to me. I get confused sometimes when I'm looking at the last thing and trying to remember if I have an expression or statement in this about
Yeah.
return. I'm just saying.
I like,
Yeah.
I generally, this is like a plotting function, I often have multiple, I usually return a list of things. And since you can only return one thing in an R function, one object, so I have to return a list, so I usually use return. And I haven't gotten complex that I've had to bring flows, usually my stuff's, I haven't had to deal with that good. Makes sense.
So I saw Hadley Wickham speak last September. His thing was, you know what, just be consistent. And no matter what, just be consistent in how you do it.
I like it, to me, it's explicit, I know what it is,
Yeah.
and
I agree. I had some function I didn't have return, and I just assumed it was taking the class. It wasn't taking the thing. I spent like 2 hours on it. After that, I was like, I don't want to use a return. It's the last time I won't use return.
okay, yes.
I couldn't figure out yet what it should have
The
been.
hard knocks
Yeah.
lesson. Okay. So now we have our function. Let's see, so we save it. I made an earlier function, did something else. Efficient happening, but now we're on to the funky package. So I guess there's another function you can use in DevTools that's called load all. That's just, that goes through and now it's, essentially it saves everything that's in the package namespace and updates it. So it's basically a save all.
What's it doing?
It saves, I think, basically it saves everything that's there. I'm not sure. I guess it loads it as it is that correct?
I don't use this function, I don't know what it does.
I got it from.
What is the purpose of you using it there?
It was in Hadley Wickham's workflow.
Well, I'll tell you, I just did it in AtterWorks.
Yeah, if you save it, yeah, I think it loads the function, so it loads everything there. I think it loads it in the actual.
It'll source everything in the R directory.
Yeah,
Is that what's happening?
yeah,
It's not building the package though.
no.
Okay.
So now we have the adder function. So it's actually,
Yeah, okay.
now we have a function. So that's a way, I guess it's part of your workflow if you're like working, building your function and trying to get it.
If it relies on multiple R scripts in that R file, you must
Yeah.
resource them all and then.
Yeah. And see, maybe you have functions in this one script that depend on this one, you want to see how they're working, then you can get them all working at the same time. Okay, so now we have a function.
Is it possible to unload it? Should you want to unload it?
I guess you can always just
Can't you just do rm list ls and just remove everything in the environment, right?
clear the environment, you unload it.
I mean, these are just script, it's just
on this-
objects in the environment. It's
Yeah.
not actually like a package that's loaded at this point, so there's
Mhm.
nothing to unload, right?
It's not even showing in my environment.
What is it showing me? What if I do this?
Yeah, that's really weird. Maybe it's like a promise or something, maybe it's not.
I've always noticed that the console and the source window are two entirely different.
Oh, well, that's because it's not in your global environment. Like when you ran load all, it didn't go in your global environment because it's simulating like you ran library, and you'd have to go to your like if you hit the drop down on global environment, is there a fishy R environment? Yeah.
Oh,
And
there's
functions
There actually is an unload function.
There's an unload.
Patrick, if you go down on your command line and do DevTools again and hit U, you'll see that there's an unload function.
They'll probably just take them out of that namespace then, right?
It's still in the global environment, but it's not.
I guess it just
It
removes
took it
everything
removes
because
the
there's nothing
package.
else there.
Unloaded the package. So if I do, that's cool. So you fishy R now it's showing up in the. That's cool. Alright, so now we have a package. Now we have to go ahead and
I added another function called hypercube, which takes in the boundary space and the number of dimensions.
It takes in a number and then just crashes your session.
So that's my function called run rtools, gender. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're gonna get into the documentation stuff, and basically when you, documentation is what we see when we hit question mark and put a function name, it calls the help page. But it introduces like this weird series of notation, which is for the R oxygen, which is the R documentation. It's not, what do you call it? It's not a markup language. Is it? Typesetting language or something like that. It's just like these languages that, pretty much take plain text and make it look nice in a meaningful way. So the easiest thing to do is I went and
It's a rendition of deoxygen.
I just copied some off the internet, like some example functions, example markup stuff, and put it above my function. So you have to put your R documentation before your function. And if you have more than one function in a script, you just have to put the R documentation code before that function. So if you have two functions here, you have R documentation for one, the function, then down here you start with more R documentation for the next function.
So if you had a function embedded in another function, you put it for the second function, but it's.
So maybe if you're calling a function, these would be separate functions. I think if you have a function in a function.
It's for every function that you wish to document. And if in this script you have written two functions and you want to document each of them separately, then you would create the documentation. Yeah. Like I'll create a package.
Because the user is never going to explicitly call a function within another function.
But you would have
Maybe
it like this.
Not talking within a function, but like in this script, there are two separate functions that you want to document, and somebody might want to call the first one, somebody might want to call the second one.
I'm just saying, sometimes you write a function in a function.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to, or even need to document, because it's implicit, the user wouldn't see it.
Well, if you want to have it be a self-contained piece of code that you can run test cases against, then maybe you create it out here, and then you don't export it to the namespace, so it's not visible to the user, but it still exists in the package and is referenced by the other functions.
It's the same number.
So like, I thought he was going to show you write export if you want the functions to be exported to the namespace and available to the user, or you don't write export if you just want them to live in the package and be usable by other functions in the package, but not by the user. And then you don't usually have to create documentation at that point, right? Because if they can't use it, they're not going to ever, they don't need documentation.
What were you saying?
I thought you were going to show them the export step.
Not
Well, like in the documentation for this
Oh.
function to be available, it must be exported.
Oh yeah, that'll come up when I document it.
You have it there. I guess it's, I don't know.
As a keyword, and then it'll show up when you run the document, when you call it DevTools document. It
Yeah.
shows the export in the namespace file. It comes up with what functions are
I have
exported.
been exposed. Yeah, I was confused because I didn't see it below examples, but I see it above return. Usually,
Okay.
the proper way to do it is to add it right as the last
Oh, cool.
documentation argument.
All right.
At least I've never seen it any other way than that, like as the very last part before.
So before or after? Down
After
here?
it's the very last one before the function is defined.
Okay.
And you don't even have to add us. I mean, I usually haven't seen spaces yet between the function. And another thing, the don't run examples, have you seen that?
I have seen it in our. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so if you do like / all one word don't run, and then in brackets the example, when you build your function, when you build your package, that example